It's Elite POV, coming live to your area on twitch.tv.
Let's fucking go!
We are your number one place for everything in the world of all elite wrestling. And just remember, when you're with us, you'll always be elite.
Yo, it's clear to see when you open up your feed that ain't nobody better than Elite POV. We bring the heat to your screen every week, cause ain't nobody better than Elite POV. So understand every time that we speak that ain't nobody better than Elite POV. Our 3 letters is all you'll ever need, cause ain't nobody better than Elite POV. What's up, everybody, and welcome to Elite POV, where it's podcast time, and you know what that means. I'm one of your hosts, Phil Cataldo, but you can call me Philliam, alongside somebody I did not want to see today, somebody I was dreading, because let me tell you, we all on this show picked our favorites to win the tournament, but only one man was brave enough to go against the grain, to go against every way that AEW has been booking their champions with giving it to veterans first. That man is, of course, the king of that bitch style.
I'm the king of that bitch style, baby.
Anthony DiStefano, what is up?
First off, Kyle, we miss you.
We miss you, Kyle. If you see the shirt, everybody who's watching live on twitch.tv.
And
repping.
Congratulations to Kyle for his engagement.
Yes.
Kyle.
Claps up all around. Claps up.
And congratulations to that bitch, Jade Cargill. I told you, motherfuckers from Jump Street. I've been on this shit for a year and a half that Jade Cargill was that bitch, was going to be that bitch. I told you she was going to be the TBS champion. And everyone's like,
I thought you were about to go into like a Cardi B song or something.
No, that was Megan Thee Stallion.
Oh.
But then, everyone's like, oh, she's too green. You know what also is green? Money. And you know who looks like $1 million with that championship? Jade. Now, when we get into the match, I'll say, okay, maybe there's some flaws, but guess what? If you're going to put a title on Goldberg, you can put a title on Jade Cargill, okay? Because Jade looks...
I just love to think that you were home last night like green like grass, no? Green like this, no? Green like money, yeah, I'm going to hit them with that.
Green like money is like the easiest thing. You'd be like green like Gumby. You know what I mean?
There you go, that's another good one.
Because Gumby's slang, come on.
Yeah, we saw blockheads on the show, right? They mentioned the blockheads. But before we get to that, I'd like to welcome in my Newark partner, the Draw, Jacky Rodriguez. What is up?
What is up, everyone? Fresh off the hype of being live at the Prudential Center in Newark, New Jersey.
Yo, you got him saying Newark now? I'm about to leave the fucking show. It's Newark.
Then leave.
I want to say Newark, but I don't want to get yelled at.
No, listen. The only reason we'll say it because Mama POV. We show respect.
Yeah, show respect.
We show respect to Mama POV.
Didn't you, by your own admission, say that your GPS said Newark?
Said Newark. It did say Newark.
That's because he's got that New York ass GPS. Mine's like, yo, what's up? What's up? We're going to that Jean over there by the Biddy over on 2nd Street on that, take a north turn. Like, mine just sounds straight Philly. Like, Newark.
I'm happy you did the impression because me knowing nothing, I would have just said Philly cheesesteak a bunch of times. Coffee McGee over here still. It's never getting better. This is it. This is
fucked me up. I had to order a nebulizer, by the way. I'm gonna fucking sleep like Darth Vader.
Dude, I haven't had one of those since I was like 11 years old.
Can't wait. My wife's gonna wake up next to me and think a plane's going down.
Well, for everybody who's tuning in, if it's your first time listening, we are Elite POV, and we do this show every Thursday live on twitch.tv/Elite POV with replays available on youtube.com/Elite POV and everywhere you guys get your podcast. If you want to support the show, head on over to patreon.com/Elite POV. You got some great stuff going on there. And if you want to get some great merch like this Canadian Prince shirt, I know the logo is blocking it, so I'll be like the Bailey buddy and like sway back and forth like the thing for the Ninja Turtles movie. Remember the thing for the Ninja Turtles movie? The little clown where Michelangelo hit it? Or Donatello hit it? Whatever. So, Elite POV merch. if you want to get great merchandise like this from our boy Infinity. Hashtag pay the man.
Pay the man.
But yes, send Hook. If anybody saw us at the Newark show yesterday, I was wearing the Hook hat. 2 people shouted me out. Shout out them for shouting out my Hook hat. It's funny because when you go to these shows, right, and you know, right, you'll see it at the Atlantic City show. They only have the most popular shirts there,
I know.
right?
It's
there was
like
the Black CM Punk shirt. There was a Brian Danielson shirt. There was the I Was Here shirt and the Hook shirt, which I think is hilarious because it's such a high seller that it's at the shows. But then nobody shouted out my hat, which I was very offended by.
These people,
just saying.
Oh, they don't know.
They're not cultured. They don't like it.
First off, T Public, $13, best Hook shirt online. The Send Hook one I got, it's great. Someone drew it. It's nice. Supporting artwork. You know what I mean?
Yeah, support it. But a little bit of news, and it involves injuries. One is a minor spoiler, but like I said on our feed last night on our Twitter, it's all over Twitter. So is it really a spoiler? No. Oh. You've seen it already. You've seen it probably 10 times. So the one big one that me and Jackie are lucky that we didn't have to watch live because it was on the other side of the ring from where we were sitting, was the Rey Fenix injury. Now, luckily, it's being reported that it's just a bad dislocation and it's not a break, which I don't know how his arm didn't break. Because when I tell you, it's funny too, because so we have a group chat with all of us and everybody's texting us from watching it at home. And they're like, oh my God, I think he broke his arm, whatever. And we're looking at our phone like, what are you talking about? Then the link gets sent to me, right? Shout out to Carrie. I think Carrie was the one who the link got sent to me first. And I click it and I see it. And you can see people in our section as it hits them. Because like people are texting them and everyone's like, oh, like our section's like reacting. Like it's nuts. But luckily, he's not. It doesn't seem like it's too bad other than a bad dislocation. Hopefully he won't be out too long. Now the minor spoiler is Jake Atlas seemed to have blown his knee out during the Adam Cole match that is going to air on Rampage this week. I had a feeling something was going wrong, but honestly, I was just hoping he was just really selling, like really selling the work that was happening on his leg during that match. But hopefully Jake Atlas isn't too bad and he's able to come back, seeing it's his second match with the company, his first televised match. But rough night in Newark. Rough night.
Really unfortunate stuff. And I just want to like call out to something that people are talking about in the chat. Look, injuries happen. You could do a move 100 times. You could do a spot 100 times in your career. And it just takes one slight, misstep or, like hair off and things can happen. That's really nobody's fault. If anybody's being called out for being careless and stuff like that, I think that's a crock of shit, basically. So, things happen. I'm glad that it's just a dislocation. I don't know how the hell, because the way that arm bent, that was gnarly as hell. Really scary stuff. And I felt awful for him. But you know what? If that's all and it's going to be just a few weeks of him being on the men's, then, sending all our best from the Elite POV team over to Jake Atlas.
And Ant, you were at home now talking to Carrie. She said that Rey Fenix let out a scream, and that's how people knew. Did you hear that on your end? Because every time I've seen the clip, I didn't have audio on, so I'm almost scared.
I didn't hear the scream, but when I watched, I legit saw his arm, like, bend. Like, I saw it, like, bend, and I was like, oh my God, Dad, like, 'cause me and my father were watching. I'm like, Dad, he just fucking broke his arm. Like, and my dad's like, no, he didn't. That looked clean. And I was like, I showed him the replay, and luckily it slowed down on the replay. And that dude broke his arm. 100%.
Well, he didn't.
Yeah.
He didn't.
Dislocated.
You thought.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Listen, sometimes dislocations are worse than breaks. Sometimes sprains are worse. It's a weird world. So, like, yeah, we're glad that it's only dislocated. But are we, we don't know what the return's going to be. The rehab, all that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. So it's very important to just send positive vibes. These guys put their bodies on the line every week for us, and this is something that's scary. And stop blaming Luchasaurus. I mean, are you kidding me? Like,
yeah, it's not Luchasaurus' fault that it's a freak accident. He fell back and went to catch himself instinctively, and his arm ended up behind him. It's not like he positioned his arm like that, you know?
Yeah,
But wrestling fans gonna be wrestling fans.
absolutely.
But one more bit of news that's actually a little bit of breaking news. Samoa Joe has just been released from WWE. And wow, for a guy who was released and then brought back to be NXT, and then I don't know if he got hurt or whatever happened, but clearly with the whole rebranding that they're doing with 2.0, with NXT 2.0, they're getting William Regal got released, Road Dogg. There's a lot of people that got released. So potentially the reason we bring it up on an AEW show is because AEW could benefit greatly from having somebody like William Regal backstage, right? We see what like Jerry Lynn and Dean Malenko and Arn Anderson and all these people who were in WWE for so many years are now over in AEW doing some great things. So I really do hope that someone like a William Regal gets brought over and gets to work with the talent. I mean, if you guys follow, if you're like us and you follow a ton of the wrestlers that are in WWE, even outside of WWE, if you just follow a lot of wrestlers in the business, only great things to say about William Regal. So hopefully we bring in Regal, and hopefully we bring in like someone like a Samoa Joe. Even if his body can't maintain being an active wrestler, like
Dude,
let's get him on commentary.
Imagine him on commentary. He was amazing. Imagine him being like a manager for like Daniel Garcia.
Oh my God.
Right?
Ooh.
Like that's like my dream, because Daniel Garcia, he doesn't have that intimidation factor. But if you have fucking Samoa Joe spitting promos at you and then this dude choking you out, like,
yeah.
And then you lead to Garcia versus Hook with Taz and Samoa Joe fucking as
in the
managers.
Corner. Yeah.
What?
The blood sport.
Bro. And not to plug it, but to plug it, Ran on Wrestling came out where I went down all these free agents, right? And I picked 5 of them. And I could tell you wrestling's going to prosper. Wrestling is in a really good spot right now. And I feel for these people getting released from NXT. But, man, if we could just get past this COVID stuff, indie wrestling's going to be very strong. AEW is employing a lot of people, which is great, between dark. Not signing contracts, but you get paid to work dark, you know? So that's an amazing thing, amazing opportunity. So we hope they all land on their feet. And that list, though, man, that list is crazy. Like
it's very hard to only pick 5.
You added Tony Storm last week, which who would have fucking thought?
Yeah, yep.
Yeah.
But it's going to be a very interesting 2022, especially with this debut episode on TBS. Now, like we said, there was a lot of highs, like there is every week with Dynamite, but with the injuries, there was some lows. But I definitely, and we're going to get to Hangman and Danielson, but there's no way we were going to start this show and not give my man Ant the platform to just celebrate his girl, Jade Cargill, winning the first ever TBS title, and just talk about the whole experience.
I mean, I am a realist, right? And Jade Cargill is my favorite, probably wrestler on the roster. I think she has the look. I think she looks like $1 million. She came out as Storm last night with that fucking sick gear. She looked like a superhero. The moment with the pictures, with her daughter at the end, that just melts my heart. And I know a lot of people don't like her because she's green, right? And I get that. And last night there were a lot of flaws that I saw in her game. But I do think her with the belt is a very easy story to tell. You have her run through that roster. Run through it, right? Murder everybody. AEW does a really good job of going back to something. And going back to something is Ty Conti saying that is the Ty BS championship. You create Ty Conti as this underdog. She's already super over, especially after that death match or whatever. Super over. Eventually you get to Ty Conti dethroning Jade Cargill for that title. But you don't need Jade. And I agree, Heel, like in the chat, like you don't need, Jade's not the best wrestler. I think she worked 20 times better with Thunder Rosa than she did with Ruby Soho. I love Ruby Soho. I don't think Ruby Soho has had a really, really clean match besides Chris Statlander in AEW. I think all of hers have been a little offbeat. She hasn't really found her clicking point, in my opinion. I think her and Statlander was great, but besides that, you know, I haven't felt that Ruby has connected either. I think last night the chemistry was just off, and it kind of took away from the moment because the match was sloppy at times. I I want to shout out Jade Cargill, though, because she was going to go to the top with the finisher, and she decided against it, which was the smart decision because it would have been sloppy. It would have been dangerous. She did the smart, safe thing, off the second rope, still very impactful, and she wins the title that way. So that is a veteran decision for only someone who's wrestled 22 matches.
No, you're 100% right, and it's, we're gonna say this a lot during the show, and I promise you guys listening, I'm not trying to be like an arrogant fuck because I sound like one when I say this, but as someone who was there live, and I know, and shout out to our boy Alex that we got to meet face to face, right, Mr. NYXL on Twitter. He's saying his section was very pro Ruby. I felt like, and Jackie, back me up on this if you think something different. The crowd itself was pro Jade. The Ruby chants weren't the way they were at Grand Slam.
No.
It's so weird to think that in a few months, not that the crowds turned on Ruby, they sang her song, everybody had a good time, but people wanted Jade to win, and people were behind Jade from the second her entrance came out, the music, the fireworks, the outfit coming out like Storm and stuff. People were very pro Jade, and yeah, Jade's not the most crisp in the ring, right? She's not the most seasoned, but it's like they're clearly doing something with this undefeated record. And now, anybody who's listened to me, I do not like undefeated records. No. That's why I kind of wanted her to lose to Thunder Rosa and kind of build their story to the side.
But you're going to love it when Ty beats her because it's going to make Ty feel 100%. Like a superstar.
Yep, just like Rob said earlier in the chat, whoever beats Jade is made because they're building her like Goldberg. Even Tony Khan said it.
Brock Lesnar rub. Like when you put their shoulders on the mat, it means something. Because it doesn't happen often.
And the crowd, people wanted Jade to win so much that I feel like they were quiet at spots. Like, and kudos to the women, because I feel like this happens a lot to them, and I feel bad. And when we talk about the Hangman Danielson match, I know Ant definitely wants to bring something up about like fatigue, right? The way they kind of structure where the matches are in these shows. But really kudos to the women because they had to grab that crowd. About halfway through that match, they were able to get the crowd going crazy with a couple of near falls, and Ruby really got the crowd invested. It just sucks for her. They were invested in Jade because they wanted her to win. I think one of Jade's biggest flaws.
I felt
before
like
we go to you,
on
Jackie,
TV it was very pro Ruby though. I agree with
really.
The chat.
I felt in the building it was very pro Jade. But the one thing I want to say, hold on, the one thing I want to say,
the crowd very well because it sounded silent. It sounded quiet. It did.
So the one thing with Jade that I think is glaring because it's one of her biggest moves is when she does that like bicycle kick, she's always a step too close. I think she forgets how tall she is, and she like is a second late to react. Her legs are so damn long; she needs to be like a step back. But it's easy for me to say. Ruby, I can't reach the top of my refrigerator.
To me, Ruby and Thunder sell that move perfectly because it looks like they're getting stomped through the mat. To me, that should be her finish because she can hit it on anyone out of anywhere, and it looks like she's going to put you through the fucking floor. And, like, I think that should be her finish because I think that's the move that she pulls off the best.
Yeah, you're right. But, Jackie, what'd you think? I know we're taking all this time. What'd you think as someone else was there?
Look, this is the dynamics of a show. There are going to be topics where we're going to have, you guys are going to have more to say or I'm going to have more to say. So it's all love here. I think from my opinion, the crowd was pretty split. And it felt like just in different patches of the arena, you were getting the loud Ruby chants, you were getting the Jade chants. So to me, it sounded like, I wouldn't say a 50-50 split, but it sounded pretty split. And to go back to what you were saying, yes, I think the crowd did suffer from some fatigue. I don't think that was an issue of the crowd not being mic'd up a certain way for television. I felt it. It felt like the energy was a little bit depleted in the beginning, which always breaks my heart because it's like, I don't want those women to go out there and feel like the crowd doesn't care about what they're doing. Mm-hmm. But they really did at the midway point start bringing people back in. Jade, for all intents and purposes, when she came out on that stage with that gear looking, in all her storm realness, looked like a freaking goddess and she looked like money. And I know there's the argument over star power versus in-ring capability. And I think that people get over in different ways. You are going to have your people that it's like when they hit the ring, they mean business and they're completely smooth. Their matches are always like gold and they're always money. And then you're gonna have people that it's just like they make you feel something. And I feel like Jade is that kind of person. She's got that presence where when she comes in, all eyes are on her.
Wow.
Like I could not stop looking at her. And you know, she just like, and it hasn't, you know, it's not just about her immaculate physique, it's just about her presence. She really commands
And
that's
that's
the stage.
perfect example, because Phil will tell you back when we did Rant with Ant, that was always my argument to the Roman Reigns can't wrestle thing. When he walks in a room, everyone looks at him and goes, I don't know who that guy is, but he's something somewhere. I can promise you that. If Jade walks in a room, you're going to take a step back and be like, I don't know who she is, but she's something. You know what I mean? Like, she's a star. And that's the star effect. You don't have to be the best when you look like a star. Now,
and it's cool because it's a balance, right? And this, I know I say it every week, but it's good to remind people. We all grew up WWE, WWF, WCW fans, and when they did something, it was across the board. If they pushed Goldberg type guys, the whole company was Goldberg type guys, right? But in AEW they give us a mixture. So yes, Hangman is our champion, right? He's like the wrestlers
3
champion.
5-star matches in a row. Yeah, he's our champion. I would say so.
Oh yeah.
Right. But and then you got but like Ant said, Jade walks into a room immediately. I don't care if Jade's never wrestled a match before. Even when she was just in the crowd when they were at Daly's place, you were like, who is that? Yep. Who is that sitting in the crowd? Because she's a megastar in the waiting. And people forget, like, they have been building her little by little. Her first match, really, her first big moment was in that Shaq match, and she shined.
Yep.
Right? She shined like $1 million standing next to Shaq. So it's like, the title makes sense that you put it on her, even though I would have rather seen it on Ruby, because I would have rather seen Jade get a little more seasoned before she gets this. But
it looks like Ruby's going over to Britt.
Britt. So it looks like they're transitioning her over there, which is fine. And I mean, the Ruby is gonna have her moment. It's just like we said last week. Be patient. We got to start. Everyone's gonna get a taste. You're gonna get a taste.
Yeah, you want to taste it.
The bigger picture here also is that this TBS tournament has created, sub storylines for the women throughout. Now you have the Mercedes Martinez Thunder Rosa thing going on as well. It's just, there's so much that came out of this, and I hope that they continue the momentum despite the fact that now the tournament is over with. I want them to keep nurturing the creation of storylines that don't necessarily revolve around the belt.
Yeah, like Sheeta and Deeb is like we talk about all the time.
Oh my god, fantastic!
That's our feud. That's what we like. Even off air, we're like excited for that shit. Like,
yeah, dude. Forever. And then Serena's promo was excellent. Did you guys get it during the show?
Yes.
Oh, we didn't. The Adam Cole promo and the Serena promo never got aired for us. They aired it after
Philly
the show.
Too. They did that in Philly too.
Maybe that's just a thing they do now. So one thing I want to transition. If you guys have nothing else to say about the women's match,
no, I'll preface where I wanted it when we talk about the fatigue of the crowd, because I think that matters.
So now there's no way we can continue on without talking about Hangman versus Brian Danielson to start the show. What an absolute masterpiece, right? At Winter is Coming, we saw a technical showcase for 60 minutes with some aggression in spots to really get us invested in the story that they were telling. This was just a fucking war. Blood from the get-go. Yep. I mean, Danielson was like bleeding. I turned to Jackie multiple times and was like, I feel so bad for Brie Bella, because like she always has to watch these matches like just look away, or like looking through her.
The best is the ref kept trying to wipe him off, and he was like, "Get the fuck out of here."
No, the best is the fact that this man left wrestling because of concussion issues, and the whole match was booked around headbutts.
Yeah, but I don't know if you saw on TV or like live, like on TV, they kept showing the ref like he was trying to wipe Danielson's face, and Danielson just kept like fucking pushing, like, get away, like I don't want you to wipe my face.
Yeah, I mean, we saw parts of it, like when they were in our view,
like the trainer, like he's just like, get away.
Yeah, he like pushed the trainer away. The crowd fucking went crazy. It was cool. But no, like as a match, Jackie, how was it like just experiencing that live, just the energy of the crowd? Because I mean, like we'll talk about it in a second that it kind of went off a cliff, but the energy wise, but like that opening match, everybody was there. We were so hyped for it.
Yeah, everybody's on their feet. Everybody's like, the audible gasps throughout the crowd. This is one of those matches that I'm again glad that I was there for live, because no picture-in-picture interruptions, no nothing. We get it straight through in all of its gory glory, because oh my god, so much damn blood.
Even though, let's be honest, at random points throughout the night, I was like, "Oh, they're clearly on commercial, Jackie. You have to look at the picture in
I
picture."
have to look at. I gotta pull up some commercials on YouTube. No, honestly, it was such a banger way to start the night. And I know that there was a lot of, anticipation because of the stipulation of the judges, and people were wondering, if it was going to go to 60 minutes again, and how are they going to top a 60-minute war like that? And I think that whereas, it was the endurance and going the distance in the first match, this one was just about just that chaotic, violent energy. And I loved every single second of it. It's like you don't want to look away. That's like that car crash effect. Hangman had a lot of pressure on him to really deliver as champion, because you have this monumental build going into his title reign. And it's kind of like, well, is that where it peaks? Like he'll get the belt and it's like, well, then what now? And I feel like he has just stepped up to the plate in such a major way to show everybody that all of that buildup was worth the payoff, and is going to continue to be worth the payoff. So kudos to both of them all around. Just like they over delivered in that match in the best way possible.
And to kind of piggyback what you're saying, so we've seen in the past that kind of the way that wrestling fans see it is the chase is always better when, whatever, than them actually having the title. And everybody always says, especially with babyface champions, once they win, everything kind of goes downhill, because it's like we're at our peak. Them winning was the peak. The matches and everything building up was the peak. So it's cool that we got Hangman versus Danielson 1 and 2 to kind of like showcase Hangman of like, no, this is how great I actually am. It's not just the Kenny feud. It's not just the Kenny matches, but look at how great this is. And it kind of sets up and gets you excited. Like, what's next?
Yep.
You know what I mean? But how was it watching at home? Like, what was it any different than kind of the way we're describing it?
I agree with Jackie 100%. I was a bit of a skeptic, right? I like Hangman, but I'm like, man, like you're coming off Kenny Omega, who had, in my opinion, the greatest AEW reign in the history of the company, right? He did the most with the belt. He elevated to a new level. And Hangman has just taken it and taken it a step up. Like, Hangman has been unbelievable. And the money's usually in the chase, but right now the money's with the champion, because he's producing great feuds. This Danielson feud is one that I don't want to go away. I know it's going to. It's one that I just want to go on, because the story to me is they couldn't beat each other in a wrestling match. So the judges weren't needed, even though it was a nice little prop to make you think, because they didn't wrestle. This was a war. This was a fight. And that's what I think. Again, it goes with the progression of Hangman's character. Hangman couldn't put Kenny away until he believed in himself. He couldn't put Danielson away until he had the killer instinct to put Danielson away. Because the last match, he waited too long to tap into that vicious side. And from the jump this time, it was a different Hangman Page than we've seen in recent history. So I think it was Hangman's best match. I liked it better than the 60-minute match. I liked it better than the Kenny match. I think this was Hangman's masterpiece. Honestly, I really do. And maybe because I'm a sucker for blood and I'm a sucker for, that fighting. And it was almost like, at one point my dad looked at me and was like, this feels like a Viking fight. Like, these guys are just like they're like wiping the blood on each other's blood on their chest and like screaming at each other. I'm like, God, like I live for that kind of gladiator.
Well,
Viking
did you
shit.
guys on TV? I think Carrie mentioned it to me earlier when we were talking about it. On TV, did the camera catch when Hangman got out of the ring after winning and started doing jacks?
We saw him doing jumping jacks in the ring. I don't know. Out of the ring.
Oh, so for anybody who wasn't there live,
Stop
and
bragging.
I'm sure somebody, yeah, I know. I'm sure somebody caught it, like they might do like an extended thing or whatever on like the YouTube or something. But when the match was over and like Hangman steps out of the ring and grabs the title, he starts doing jumping jacks. outside of the ring as he's walking up the ramp.
I loved that.
And then they also showed, which got me kind of worried for Danielson because I was like, is he actually hurt or is he just fantastic at selling? They're like carrying him up the ramp and he keeps pushing them away from him and he keeps falling and they go to help him and he's like pushing them like he's like so angry that he lost.
Can you believe that Danielson is the top heel in pro wrestling? Like,
yeah, and he was a top face like 3 months ago.
Like what?
The building like shook.
I wrote it last night and I stand by it. He's the best in the world. There's not even a fucking question. There's not a question anymore. Every single match with every single opponent, we spend the most time talking about when it comes to Brian Danielson.
Yeah,
we could do a whole damn episode.
We could. He is literally the best. And when him and Punk face off, and when him and Omega go again, like there's so many dream matches.
And him and Moxley here, right?
Him and Adam Cole, like,
yep.
Holy shit, like. It's just starting. It's only been 4 months. I want you to think about Danielson's run in AEW started at the end of September. Or was it the beginning of September? It was the beginning of September. But his first match was at, what, Arthur Ashe? So
end of September. And now here we are now, right? And Jeff in the chat saying Danielson's the GOAT. Listen, those conversations got to start happening. Like, we need to start having these conversations.
I always said, and I'm a Punk guy, I always said Danielson's a better wrestler than Punk.
Even Punk has said it.
Danielson, I mean, even if you can make a fan adapt to the style of WWE, which is a much different style, and you're still the best wrestler, like people consider it, like AJ Styles kind of in that category too, that means you're fucking excellent, right? Because if they can dumb down your moveset to 7 moves and you're still considered one of the best, like, that means you're pretty goddamn good.
So I have 2 things before we get off this and transition to another aspect of this that I know Ant really wants to talk about. One, so Carrie said this to me earlier, so shout out to her, and also Rob, shout out to you. Brian threw out a bunch of things that finished other people too that didn't finish Hangman. So one of the cool things, a little thing if you pay attention to the details, Danielson has like a few different finishers. None of them worked on Hangman in 2 matches. And I think that's very, very good at building the type of champion that Hangman's going to be. That's 1. And 2, this will be the last thing we say before Ant gets to his point. Shout out to Jeff. Paige proving yet again you don't need a hat to be a cowboy.
Yeah. Right.
Hey.
Yeah. All right, now Ant, talk about how you feel this putting these matches first actually could affect the show in a negative way.
And listen, I'm all for one. Like, we're starting off hot. I've said it. It's so much fun. But at a certain point, now, you kind of booked yourself into this because it might have went an hour, right? So I get it this time. My problem is when you start this hot, the crowd exerts all their energy, right? And they're cheering and they're going nuts, and that roller coaster ride, which those guys take you on, because it's going to be the best match on the card. It's going to be one of the best matches of the year. You're going to feel a certain way, and you're going to want to let it all out, right? I've sat in a building with Andrade versus Gargano, which is the best match I've ever seen live, and I felt something I've never felt, and I didn't have a voice the next day because I just couldn't hold it in. That affects the show because now you have Jade having her crowning moment and Ruby having this moment of a mid-card women's title that we've had a 3-month tournament for kind of just get little, like, it was getting cheers, but it wasn't getting that initial energy that I think it should have. And even the tag match, it took a little bit to get there. I do think what hurt Jade and Ruby too is you put Punk and MJ there. And thanks, Rob, Little League Pit.
Yeah, that popped me.
and you put MJF and Punk there, so then you guys got real loud again, right? To me, you should have started with the TBS title if you didn't have that stipulation. You start with the TBS title on TBS. You have the crowd go nuts. They have all the energy. It makes Jade's title win feel bigger because you know everyone is going to find energy with Hangman and Danielson. In that type of match, you find energy, right? I've been to wrestling shows. We've been to Manias where it's like we look at each other and we're like, yeah, and Reigns is main eventing, and we're Reigns guys, and we're looking at each other like, yo, you want to fucking leave because I'm exhausted, right? Wrestling
35.
shows are exhausting.
We were talking about it at the show this week. We were me and Jackie talking to the guy sitting in front of us, and it's like, you remember that 8-hour marathon that was WrestleMania 35, and like how we wanted to see the triple threat women's match, and we were just so tired by the time we got there. I mean, luckily this show wasn't 8 hours, but you start so strong and so heavy, and then what we're gonna talk about after this. But like Punk and MJF's promo delivers so much hype and excitement, so it's like boom, boom, 1-2 punch to start out, and then it's like you need a breath, and like they put Jericho on afterwards, which was funny because like, oh my god, I'm so over everything that Jericho is doing.
But here's the thing that bothered me is like they were louder for Jericho's entrance than they were for the women's match.
Well, because everybody sings a song.
Fuck the song. I'm sorry, I love Chris Jericho.
I 100% agree with you on that notion, but yeah, it's just people like the song is like what, not even a minute long, of people just singing, and that's the level of energy they're exerting there, as opposed to a 15-minute match or however long it was.
But yeah, it's just
I just think pacing
completely valid.
Like, and I know that you couldn't. I know that that's the big argument, is you couldn't do it and that's fine. But I'm just saying, this formula is eventually it's hurting the crowd. Like, I know you're popping a big rating at the beginning, but like, man, if you would have just said you could have fit all that stuff in and then started the main event at 10 or 9:15, and you could have sold it to us. Like, this is me thinking
we'll go over.
They used to do this with Nitro. If it goes over, we will have the match in picture or whatever during whatever the fuck TV. First off, it's TBS. You can go over because nothing's drawing that rating. I'm sorry, you're fucking 30 Rock from the whatever it is. I don't even know what show's on there.
Dude, Rob, 100%, right? Rob saying in the chat, Jericho's my favorite of all time, but the Jericho segment could have been not on the show and could have given us another women's.
That's exactly what I'm saying, right? Too.
Yes,
you could have showcased like Deeb and Sheeta. That could have been 10 minutes right there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Or you could have just had a random women's match. You could have had Layla Hirsch versus Chris Statlander, because they seem to be kind of building that feud going somewhere.
Big Bang Theory. Thank you. 30 Rock, whatever. Same fucking show.
Well, I like Big Bang Theory. Let's not get crazy, all right? Okay. It's just the reruns are on TBS. It was very good on CBS. It's like a crazy, all right? But Ant is 100% valid, because as I don't want to sound like an asshole, but as someone who was there, I got very tired.
Hey, guys. In the chat, did you guys know Phil was there last night? I just want to... Hey, let's take a survey. Where's Scott Hall at? Where's Phoenix when you need him?
Yeah, I know.
We got to take a survey. Listen, did you guys know that Phil was there? I got tired watching that match.
Yeah. Kiss my ass. But now let's transition over to CM Punk and MJF. So MJF comes out. He's fighting Shawn Dean in a very creative way. CM Punk costs MJF the match by hitting Shawn Dean with the GTS, which is a disqualification. Shawn Dean wins, which is hilarious. He put on his Twitter, 1 million people saw him beat MJF by disqualification. So he's going to start calling himself the $1 Million Man, which shout out to Shawn Dean. I love that for him. That's so great. But yeah, it's a very creative way to further the storyline with Punk and MJF. And then we get this incredible promo. And like, what? Just a war of words. And my favorite thing is, and I get it, people are tired at like the WWE digs, but listen, I'm not. Because when Punk said what he said and was like that fourth night, buy one, get one free, all that shit made the crowd erupt, which is what he has to do, because MJF doesn't hold punches. And that's the one thing. MJF does not give a shit about anything. So he's going to say something and Punk's got to come back just as hard. And I just love that. But how was that watching it at home?
It was great. And I think I really do enjoy MJF because he's the one that's making Punk become CM Punk again. CM Punk was the voice of the voiceless. CM Punk was the guy who said stuff that people were afraid to. But now MJF is that guy. MJF is the guy that's going to say shit to offend people. And he's firing live rounds at Punk. So Punk has to come back. The crowd was hot for the WrestleMania line.
Yeah,
so,
crowd popped huge.
I think overall, when they touch, it's going to be amazing. But man, shout out to our boy Wardlow getting the Punk match next week. fucking hyped, bro.
Well, now, so talking to Carrie again, she brought up a very good point. Do you guys think that they could do some shenanigans again where maybe MJF hits low so Punk loses?
That was my
Carrie
first thought too, though.
No, honestly, I think that was a good point that she made, and I hadn't thought of that. But once again, Carrie proving that she books this.
Yeah, she's booking this. Who's booking this shit?
But I mean, I didn't get to talk about MJF and Punk, and I was
I didn't say we were moving on.
We're not moving on.
I want to hear you talk.
It is my first thought though. Was oh shit, what if MJF? And then I kind of talked myself out of it. If MJF hit Wardlow, because fuck, I just want Wardlow to destroy this dude. But go ahead, Jackie.
I want Wardlow to destroy me.
Jackie's asked for another powerbomb for her.
No, for me. After me, she can get seconds. Let me go first.
Yeah, Phil.
I want him to break me in half.
I would say Phil was in the front of that line before me, so he can get next.
Yeah, please.
So honestly, like, you know, side shout out to, I don't even know if she's here still in the chat, but my sister-in-law is the biggest anti-MJF person walking this freaking planet. Her and my brother, they cannot stand this guy, you know, for anything in the world. Last night, she gave MJF his flowers for that promo. Just when he hit with the oh my god, there was like a specific line and now I'm completely blanking out.
There was a WrestleMania line. There was shout out to the guy. I don't know if the camera.
The Piper line.
The Piper line, yeah. Piper
was
good enough to,
was good enough to main event WrestleMania as a, like, you know, a dig at Punk. And it's just like, yo, MJF has been able to go toe to toe with Punk, you know, segment after segment. And it's like Punk is notorious for being a guy who just assassinates people on the microphone and has no problem saying what's on his mind. Yes, people can get angry about the digs and stuff like that, but that's real life. That's something that he experienced. It speaks to who he is as a person and what shaped him to this moment. So let him talk about it. But it was just like, to me, that this feud, let it stretch on as long as it needs to stretch on. Mm-hmm. Honestly, like, I know people are like, well, is it going to happen at Revolution? How are they going to book this, you know, for when they finally get their one-on-one match? At this point, I'm not in a rush. I'm like, I want to see it happen, but if it means that week after week we're going to get these like fire segments, just let them
give
go
it to me.
And it's going to keep adding layers. Like, we're getting a Wardlow thing. That's a layer. That's another layer to the story. But here's my thing is Twitter last night, right? And I don't get into the war thing. I think it's fucking stupid and corny. But people were like, why does he have to bring up his ex-employer? Here's my question. Why was it so cool when he dissed the employer that he was working for, but it's not cool that he disses same employer that he's not working for? It's the same fucking thing. The same person has the same gripe with the same company. Who gives a shit? Like,
it's fun. It's fun because
Stone Cold Steve Austin made a career of hating the company he worked for.
It's just fun because it's speaking directly to the fans, because like we know his history. So when they hit those lines in the promo, it hits us because we know it. I understand it's different universes and all this stupid shit, right? It's still pro wrestling, and whether you work here or you work in WWE or you work in Impact, Ring of Honor, in AEW, all of that still existed.
WCW literally told us that Mankind was gonna win the title on Monday night. Like,
I mean, that ended their company.
Imagine the internet. They would have. Tony Schiavone's canceled. Like, what the fuck, dude? Like, don't say that you want competition, and then people have competition, and people are like, oh, why are they taking shots? Because he has a legitimate gripe. And if you talk to anybody, right? I hate the old company I work for, and I bring it up sometimes how much I hated it. It's part of life.
Yeah. But that's just normal conversation. People do that. It's like, you want to talk about like the fact that you hated the job that you left. People do this shit.
So fuck FedEx, bro. Pieces of shit. Now, but shout out to that guy on the rampway who had the sign that said, had the sign that said MJF fears Larry. That shit popped me from where I don't know if the camera caught it, but that shit was hilarious. And Punk like gave him a pound on his way out too. It was awesome. It was fucking fantastic. But now one thing that I do want to mention, because it was pretty disappointing, and I think that maybe the injury to Phoenix kind of affected what was going to happen that night. But we get Malachi Black versus Brian Pillman Jr., and everybody assumed this was going to be the night for a debut, whether it was Brody King or Buddy Murphy or Julia Hart turning heel or Pop turning heel or some. We were like, this is a night. Something is going to happen. House of Black takes a step into another direction, right? We're going to see him start to add members. Malachi's been teasing it on Instagram. But Jacky, how did you feel when nothing ended up happening? Like, it was kind of like, it's over. Okay. Lights go out. He's gone and cool.
They're intentionally toying with our emotions because everybody's sort of anticipating something at this point. But between the lights going out and then Malachi just simply, disappearing and reappearing in a different spot, when everybody thought that there was going to be a debut, and even the lights going out in the main event, and, thinking, okay, is now going to be the time. So
Yeah.
I felt like we got swerved a couple times, but just to see the crowd's reaction, like just the hush that fell over when the lights went out, if and when that moment comes, that shit is going to be so major.
Oh,
because now people are just desperate for it at this point.
Yeah, and everybody stood up. Remember, everybody was like, "Wait, what's going?" Like, everybody was like at high alert. Like, oh, who's it going to be? Who's it going to be?
I kept jumping out of my seat. I had my camera ready, like, oh, I'm going to catch the moment. And I'm like,
yeah. And first of all, you overhear the whole fucking show. All right, everybody listening, the whole show, the whole day. Jacky's like, my phone sucks, my camera sucks, and she took the best picture of the night of Malachi. Go on her Twitter at LoveYouMake24 and see the best picture that either one of us took that night on her phone that she claims sucked. Incredible picture.
Even a blind squirrel finds a nut every once in a while.
Yo, and Malachi's over here liking it because it's a dope ass picture, and I'm over here sitting there like, use your phone. Your phone is better. No.
It's all about composition, baby. It's not just about the what you're working with. It's how you compose that photo.
Shit, man.
And that shit was money.
Yeah,
no, I have become a really big Malachi Black mark. I love everything. Like when he comes out, that entrance, I just completely stay quiet. I immerse myself in it. I scare myself a little bit by getting a little too much into it, but he's just when the moment strikes, I'm telling you, it's gonna be freaking huge. And I can't wait.
It's gonna be epic. And how'd you feel watching at home? Were you disappointed, or were you just so fatigued at that point you were just like...
Well, I mean, at least it wasn't Sting.
Oh shit.
There's that.
Never forget.
I was disappointed. I definitely think the injury to Phoenix kind of threw something off. I do think they had to call a little bit of audible. But whatever, when it happens, it happens. I do think they need to progress the storyline. I would like to see some more vignettes of the understanding of House of Black and more vignettes like we saw a couple weeks ago, because without it and just the lights going off, the progression kind of feels stale right now. And I know we're all waiting, but eventually we're going to be like, when it happens, we're going to be like, okay, fucking finally. And you then run the risk of it being not as, like, people being more disappointed, because the more time you let people think, they're going to have expectations. So they're going to have, it's going to be Wyndham. They keep shutting it off. It's got to be. And then it's going to not be Wyndham, and people are going to be like, fuck. And then you don't get
you're talking about yourself.
I was going to say,
us is me.
It's giving himself his own advice.
I'm fucking talking myself down. No, but it's true. Every time you do that, though, it kind of prolongs it and it sets expectations higher. And I just don't want to see someone like Brody King, who deserves a massive fucking pop, not get that. I want to see it. So, but man, I love the match. Julia Hart had an eye patch on. Did anyone notice that? Like,
yeah, it was cool.
That, how did Malachi start? That shit's spreading. That shit is spreading.
Julia Hart, his makeup is like super long. It's like down his face now, right?
But when he had his eye injury in WWE, how did it start? He was wearing an eye patch. So it went full fucking circle to his Aleister Black character. It's like, as the professor, the real professor, Monty says, it's like the Venom virus. And I do 100%.
Venom symbiote, Monty. All right, if you're out here.
And they had, Pillman did have the Venom shirt on last week. So I feel like that's going to be a play into that. So it's gonna be really dope. I do think that injury had something they had to call an audible on.
Yeah, because at the end of the show, and the camera did show it, right? They showed Malachi in the crowd by himself, like showing respect,
yeah,
right?
but they show other people too.
They showed a little bit of everybody, which I was a little confused by that part of it. But
the most confusing thing to me, and tell me if they showed us on TV, but Chris Jericho and Eddie Kingston were sitting next to each other. I thought these guys hated each other. Did they show that on TV?
They showed. I think they only showed a close up on Jericho.
No,
they
but
showed a close up on Jericho Kingston separately. Like I went and watched back little pieces of it, so they don't show it like panned out where you can see.
The panned out view. Spoiler alert! Well, it was Jericho, Santana Ortiz, Kingston, and it looked like they were sitting next to each other.
But it was so awkward because it's like, yeah, if Jericho can find a tag team partner, he fucking has a faction. What?
Yeah, well, he had a tag team with Sammy. And he had a tag team with Jake.
He had a
tag team in his stable. What's going on?
And then everyone was on. It was awkward. Everyone was on the stage. It was awkward.
I think the timing of the show was completely wrong. Now, a funny thing that I've never noticed before when being at these shows live is there was a production person, and me and Jackie kept laughing at it. There was a production person that kept coming out and be like, go, 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 go. You gotta go. Like, Eddie Kingston didn't know who it was, and he turned around and was like, what the fuck? Like, he looked like he was about to throw blows, and they were like, no, you gotta go. I just feel like they booked these shows to the second too much that, God forbid an injury happens and you get fucked, because they probably had that planned out so much better.
But did they? Yeah. Because if they're just having people, and I love AEW, but I'm also a realist. The final scene of that show should be Jungle Boy on Luchasaurus' shoulders, belt, their moment. Fuck everyone else. It's not their moment yet, right? Mm-hmm. They do a really weird job of not finishing. Like, you go to the next show. You go to 30 Rock from the Sun. What was it called? Big Bang Theory, whatever, some science show, right? You go to Perry Saturn's Rings of Saturn class, but you go there with Jungle Boy holding the title up on Luchasaurus' shoulders.
And you do that whole scene next week. You have Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus come out, and then the tag teams come out, and you build from there.
And they did it with
I wasn't mad at it. Like, I mean, you're right. The final image should be.
They don't stick it. They never stick it. Just stick it.
But like, I didn't mind like everybody, like the tag teams coming out and whatnot to kind of say like, enjoy your honeymoon now because it's not going to last long. Like,
but we don't
kind of like to rub it in their face.
I know you're thinking hindsight. You see his thighs. We get it. You're hype. Right?
No, that's not necessary.
You're hype.
No,
I get it.
That's a bonus. But no. Don't do that to me.
No,
don't try to sell it.
But we've had this conversation even like on our Fortnite nights, right, where we're just bullshitting. That is the one thing that they need to get better at is sticking the ending. And I feel like every time they have a chance to just stick the fucking ending, there's always collusion and bullshit happening.
Every time they have a chance to stick, it's a whole problem. Yeah. It's going to be 10 years from now, and it's going to be Sting. He's going to, wake up, Sting. It's Sting.
Listen, everything, bro. It's just, the one time, Moxley standing in the ring, and it's he had a mean face, and it's the perfect all right, cut, show over. No, let's show him going around the crowd for 8 minutes. What the fuck is that ending? No, stop. I can't wait to watch
one thing, and I don't know if the camera caught this, but a lot of people are posting pictures of this. So they had this very touching moment. I want to transition to the main event now. There was this very touching moment of Jungle Boy when he wins the title. He looks up. And he's like, thank you so much. And then another one when he climbs on the ropes and he has the title up and he's staring up. And that's for his dad. And it's super emotional. And it's just, it's so heartwarming. I'm getting emotional saying it out loud, right? To everything that it meant. But it's so cool that Jungle Boy gets this. I mean, it maybe have not came off so great on TV. But it's cool that we get this moment of this is one of the pillars and one of these young wrestlers that are in this company. And he gets his moment. Yeah. It was a little crazy beforehand with the injury and whatever. And I don't know if it was potentially supposed to even happen, because who knows if Ray doesn't get hurt, if they build to something else. But the match was excellent. Jungle Boy is an absolute megastar waiting to happen. The crowd is in love with everything that he does. Every time he gets in there, the crowd goes ballistic. It's really cool that we start the 22 2022 and this new era in TBS with them finally giving Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus their moment in the sun, their moment to shine.
Well,
now the Lucha Bros can go on to something else,
it's funny
and we can get this moment.
He was the
and
only...
shout out to Jamie, because before shout out to Jamie because when I tell you, my favorite thing about being a wrestling fan is meeting other wrestling fans like you guys and knowing that like Jungle Boy isn't one of like my absolute favorites, but like I know that Jamie loves him, so I feel like her fandom lives through me. I literally jumped up in the air like a crazy person when he won, because I was so excited, not only for Jungle Boy, not only for me because it's a great moment, but for Jamie, because I know how much this means to her, and it's great to know that your friends are getting to have this incredible fan moment. And I want to see the video, Jamie. I know you ain't showing it. I want to see it.
I was gonna say, like, it felt right because I feel like everyone has kind of had their moment in the sun with the pillars. Like MJF always has his moments, right? Darby's won a title. You know, MJF's the 3-time ring winner. Sammy won the TNT title, and it was like we were waiting for Jungle Boy to finally get his, right? Finally have his moment. And that moment came. I really didn't think they were going to put it on Jurassic Express. I really didn't think so. Things are going to get really, really interesting now because you can do so much now with PNP turning. You could have the
you could bring FTR back into this. You could bring in
Scorpio and Ethan Page. Like you have a lot of talent there. Now
you have Red Dragon there. They were on stage. Like they kind of set this up as like, yo, let's start to build this tag division. I saw people on Twitter talking about it, and this is I don't want to get lost. Is like one of the biggest shows of the year, first show on TBS, and you end highlighting the tag division, which is what other competitors to you, not just WWE, but other companies in general, they don't end shows with a major spotlight on the tag team division. So this is pretty cool that they're the first show of the year. First show on a new network, and boom, it's like tag team wrestling is important here.
Oh, it's great. I mean, they highlighted a lot. It was great last night. It's just, to me, I think Jungle Boy deserved that. I do think we all know in about a year, Jungle Boy is going to be a solo wrestler, and he's going to be at the top of the card. That's my prediction for 2023 is Jungle Boy is going to be one of the top single superstars in that company. Phil has said it. I have said it. I see a lot of Shawn Michaels in him. I really do, where he's just going to become a fucking megastar. He has the look. I'm not going to start singing Shawn Michaels because I'll lose my breath, but the girls, wow, he's just a Tarzan boy.
So you're saying he has the Shawn Michaels look so he can see all different directions?
Yeah, he has he has the Shawn Michaels look, not the Shawn Michaels eye, okay? He is the Jungle Boy, so he has the eye of the tiger, not the eye of the HBK. But no, it was great to get to see that. What was it like live? Because I do feel like the crowd was like kind of like roller coaster. I want to talk to someone who was there. Obviously, I don't know if Phil was there or not, but Jackie, how was it? Was it like a roller coaster for you guys too?
I personally thought the crowd was with it definitely throughout the match. It's really unfortunate what happened with Phoenix, but you know the Lucha Brothers have a knack for really showcasing. They're like human highlight reels at this point. So it's like you're going to get a lot of people just like, you know, all eyes on the match because there's always something crazy going on. And I love that about them. I feel kind of bad because I was really hyped when they won the tag team titles, but the run that came from it was a little anticlimactic for me. Like I wasn't necessarily sad that the reign ended, but
it was.
I thought that I don't know, like it didn't hit the way I thought it would. I think the crowd was hyped to see Jurassic Express, you know, have the new tag team champions start off with something fresh going into the new network in the new year. I don't think, I know, like Phil, you alluded to this earlier where you were concerned it might have been an audible because of Phoenix's injury. I don't think so, only off of the basis that Jungle Boy's family was there in the crowd.
Oh, were they?
Okay. Yeah, his mom and his sister were there. And I feel like that's typically a dead giveaway that you know something is about to go down.
Also, shout out to Ant. His Jersey family was in the crowd. We had Snooki and JWoww there.
JWoww, yep.
Yeah.
No, but
First of all, JWoww, sorry to cut you off, but JWoww's fiance is jacked and huge, and he's a wrestler.
Yeah.
You guys get to see him at Elevation next week against QT Marshall. What the fuck? Since when? That dude is a monster.
No, but overall, I thought it was aside from the injury, which took things off the rails a little bit. I think they ended the show on a high note. And again, going back to what you said, I am a tag team wrestling enthusiast. I am so glad that we have
your favorite tag team
now that. Shut up, Ann.
Is it Private Party?
It has to be Private
I think
Party.
it's Private Party.
100%.
Easily.
I like Private Party.
TH2?
Leave
Do you are
Private
you a
Party
Hardy?
alone.
Do you do the Hardy thing?
The best part is we can't see Ant on our end,
Yeah.
but I know he's doing it.
Yeah, I was feeling it.
No, but to see a company that really treats tag team wrestling like it is main event quality stuff, because it is. And to end on a high note like that, I thought it was great. But I just I feel so bad I keep going back to it. But poor Phoenix, man.
Oh man, that was disgusting.
That's damn rough. My brother texted me. He was like, I literally got nauseous seeing his arm bend back like that. But I'm looking forward to seeing where they're going now with it. Hopefully in a different direction. See what kind of different opponents they start pulling out for Jurassic Express, and just let them go.
I do have a question.
Yes.
Being I liked the first couple season of Lucha Underground. Am I the only one who kind of wants to see Pentagon and Phoenix have solo runs as well? I feel like
You are not the only
Pentagon,
Jackie was telling me it the whole night.
Phoenix, to me, that is your TNT fucking champion. Phoenix flying around to start off the show, that is your TNT champion. And then you can have Penta do his dark gimmick. Fuck, man. I just
that
feel
was my first exposure to Penta.
yeah,
was
and
through Lucha
he's one of
Underground.
my favorites because
Mine
of
too.
Lucha Underground. He was so badass, just fucking. He was a murderer.
Yeah, but that's the thing that I think they need to start showcasing, to Santana Ortiz, the best friends. That the more people, more of those teams, the Butcher and the Blade, when Butcher comes back from his injury or on tour wherever he is at right now, or maybe even start to build Private Party the right way because the Hardy stuff isn't working anymore.
Oh
But-
my God, Noel, what's up? But are the guy who draws everything for us,
Artist.
for everything for Rant with Ant, for Elite POV.
Hey,
what's
what up?
buddy? How are you? Thank you so much for being
Welcome
the man.
in.
The guy who made that incredible pinnacle of podcasts and all of our stuff for years. He's been our artist for years.
Artist for years and years and years.
Welcome to Twitch. It is a fun ride.
It is a fun ride.
You just can't say the S word, SIMP, or you will get banned. That is
I
a
don't know
big
what you heard about me, but Jade
But
just
now,
won a title for me.
an incredible show
I'm a
on Dynamite this week.
SIMP.
Now, a little bit of a preview of what is to come. On Rampage, we have Hook versus Aaron Solo, and let me tell you guys, Hook is an absolute megastar. I was telling Jackie, I was like, listen, it is crazy to think that something that started as a joke has gotten this guy so over, and he is billed and booked and cheered like a killer. In my opinion, the feeling that I get is when Moxley comes out, oh fucking Moxley's gonna kill somebody, Kingston's gonna kill somebody, Hook is going to kill somebody, even though he looks like Justin Bieber, right? But he is an absolute murderer, and the way that he wrestles, the way that he carries himself is just so fucking cool, and it's so great.
Yeah.
It's just awesome. So Hook versus Aaron Solo is a fun match.
You don't know if he's gonna do a TikTok dance or choke you to fuck out. It's crazy. That's what I love about
way to
him.
look at it,
Is he gonna hit the Savage dance with fucking what's his name? Tanner Hall? What's his name?
I don't know.
I
You're a TikTok guy.
I don't know the TikTok guys. I know Addison Rae
All right,
and then
all right.
Emilio.
He's got Addison Rae next to him.
Yeah.
You don't know if
I mean,
Hook's
who
gonna
wouldn't
do-
want to have Addison Rae next to him?
I mean,
Just saying.
Oh my God.
Just
But
saying,
it's just hilarious to me that, like you said, it started like a joke.
Adam
But
Hook is a
but-
menace.
Oh God. It started as a joke, but then people actually saw, they were like, oh shit, but he can actually back it up. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it makes sense.
It makes it even better because it's like, oh shit, were just saying this for fun, and now this guy's coming out like a straight up menace, and he's throwing suplexes like he's been doing this his whole damn life.
Oh, I know. Oh my
I'm
God.
like, I freaking love it. I'm shocked every time, but I'm like, I'm here for this.
So
And
Hook-
we got that "We Are Hookers" chant really, really loud.
Oh yeah, that's the one thing on Rampage, and I hope to God they caught it because it might be when they stopped the taping for that segment, but the crowd started chanting "We Are Hookers," which is like pro wrestling is fantastic.
Yeah. So, like, what Hook reminds me of, and this is probably why he's like the good-looking kid in high school. He's very quiet. He doesn't say much, but you know he's on the wrestling team. And then one day somebody pisses him off, and he just beats the fuck out of that person. And you go, "Oh my God, I forgot that dude was on the wrestling team." That is Hook.
Oh, here's a fun story that I've told Ant before, but it's in that regard. So when I was in high school, when I went to Rockland for a year, there was this one kid, similar to what Ant says, he was very quiet, he never spoke, and everybody kind of left him alone, right? He was like a little, you could tell he was in shape, you could tell he was an athlete, but no one messed with him. There was this other kid who thought he was tough shit, and he was like, you know, acting all ghetto and shit, and he tried to fight this kid. The ghetto kid threw a punch. The quiet kid caught the punch, flipped him upside down, put him in a garbage can. I kid you not, I saw it with my own eyes, and walked away. When I tell you that kid was now the most popular fucking kid in school, that is Hook.
It's Hook.
In a nutshell.
It's Hook.
Love that.
It's so unbelievable.
We love
So
Hook.
we have that match. Then we have Adam Cole versus Jake Atlas, which is an incredible match until, of course, the injury towards the end of the match. I wonder if they kind of edit around the way the ending of that match was, but that match was incredible. Definitely a great showcase for Jake Atlas. We had Ruby Soho and Riho versus Britt and Jamie, which was a great match, a lot of fun. And then we have Kingston and PMP versus 2.0 and Daniel Garcia in a fucking wild street fight that you guys definitely have to see.
But the good
it is
news,
a great time.
the good news
Yes.
is, Phil,
Yes.
is they can hear us talk about it. Because Saturday
Yep.
at 10 a.m., we
Yep.
are live
Yep.
for our second show. We're adding a second show too, Tony. Okay?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
You want to taste?
And we're going head to head with Saturday morning cartoons, bro.
Saturday
they don't want no
morning
beef.
cartoon. No, 10 a.m. every Saturday
What's
at 10
even on
a.m.
Saturday cartoon?
We'll be
cartoons
talking
anymore,
everything about Rampage. It's gonna be like a 30 to 40 minute show. This week we will highlight Battle of the Belts as well, as that happened Saturday night live.
Yep.
Which I thought it was getting taped last night. I wanted spoilers because I do think that Jon Moxley is coming the fuck back, and he is going to attack Cody Rhodes, and I'm gonna streak down the road.
I think Cody might be losing to Sammy. I don't know. Think it might be happening. I'm just saying. The only matches we have for Battle of the Belts so far: Sammy versus Cody, Rio versus Britt.
It's only an hour show.
Is it? I thought it was 2 hours.
Tony said it was only an hour.
Oh, maybe it is an hour. Maybe it's just like a special.
said
But yeah, so we have a lot of great things coming. Like Ant said, twitch.tv/ElitePOV, 10 a.m. on Saturday is our new showtime for our second Rampage show. Just as a reminder, that will be a revolving door show.
Yep.
It isn't. It might be 3, it might be 2, it might be 4, it might be 5, it might be the whole crew.
It might be
We'll
guests.
see how it is.
You know,
We're gonna have, so the people who signed up to
Patreon.
our Best in the World Patreon tier for that first month or two when we had the reward to be on the show. The Rampage show is the show we're gonna have you guys on. We're gonna start filtering people in and out that we owe it to, and we'll see what it's like moving forward. If it's a lot of fun and you guys like it, maybe we keep that tier going and maybe we adjust it a little bit. But this is the show that we like to keep just us, our more professional show. And then Rampage, we're just gonna go
on it.
wild.
What?
10 a.m. Yeah, I know. If you're on it, is it really that professional? But the Rampage show is going to be wild. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be shorter as long as this show is. It'll be from 30 to 45 minutes, depending on how crazy Rampage was and what's going on in the wrestling news. But we're definitely excited to give you guys this second show.
Here's the funny thing, though. Phil and Jacky will tell you this, right? I will fuck around, and there's like a switch. When I have to be professional, I'll be the most professional motherfucker on the planet. Phil has seen
Ultimate
it.
Warrior
Yeah.
Rick Rude.
No, yeah. No, but for real. Like, Jackie, how
1990.
hyper was I before FTR? And then FTR came on, and I was like, boop, professional.
I was just gonna say, like, cheap plug over here, but our FTR interview is a prime example of how Ant flips a switch and suddenly he's like, "Oh, I'm a professional media guy. Look at me!" And
Yeah.
you know, over
Ant's
here
a
he's
showman.
like Mr. Chaotic.
Yep.
Ant is a showman. Ant was born for this,
So-
right? If any, I wish I had a better video quality of the best man speech that he gave at my wedding, but this dude was playing the room. He had props. He had a headband on. He was giving them the hits, right? He was doing the WrestleMania version in my life.
But the
is
best,
the Philly
the
bloodline.
best is I didn't write shit down. That
No.
was straight shoot, brother.
No, he had. Didn't you say a CM Punk line? You were like, in my hand, this microphone's
No, I didn't.
whatever.
I wanted to, but like I knew Brittany would have killed me.
There was just, it was funny because, mind you, Ant's meeting people for the first time at this wedding, right? And like he's popping them like crazy over like a Philly blunt line.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like he knew them.
I told him that we wouldn't be talking about wrestling. I said, but if you want to see me talk about wrestling and strip down to my underwear, go to my OnlyFans account.
Yeah,
So
he said that. He said that in front of a room full of people, in front of a room full of our families.
All right. Well, Phil will post it on Twitter.
I don't have it. There's no good quality of it.
Well, you can hear it.
We'll see what we can do.
I'll find
We'll see what we can do. But
I'll post.
Thank you guys for listening. If you want to follow the show, it's at Elite POV on Twitter and Instagram. It's Elite POV Clips on TikTok. We're going to start using that a little more often. We put a lot of great clips up there. Shout out to everyone on our team, the Jackies, the Jamies who do that for us.
Sorry, I'm looking for this video and I just saw all the Paige Van Sant heat that Phil fucking sent.
Yeah, dude, it's a sharing is caring. Sharing is caring. If you want to follow me on Twitter, it's at Philly Elite. Jackie, let them know where they can follow you.
You can follow me on Twitter at LoveYouMake24 and on Instagram at JacksTheDrawPOV.
And Ant, let them know where they can follow you.
Wait, what? No, it is at ant_is_elite. Give us a follow. Give me a follow. Go subscribe to YouTube, please. We're so close to 200 subscribers. I have goals, right? I'm a very fucking OCD, goal-oriented person. You guys might think I don't do anything except show up and just be an asshole on air, but I am like the most OCD brand person.
I can vouch for that.
They fucking hate me because it's like 7 a.m. I'm like, here's the agenda. This is this. I'm nuts. But we
He's
have
a great
goals.
leader.
We have
great
goals. Leader. I want to get to 500 subs by the end of in 2022. I'm going to grow it to 500 subs. So we're near 200. That means we need like 305 more. So tell your friends, tell your wife, tell your cousins, tell your neighbor, tell everybody. If they don't like our show, they can go fuck themselves.
And thank you, everybody, for giving us 4,000 views on the Ty Conti interview. And we were getting close to, if not over, 900 views on the FTR interview. YouTube.com/ElitePOV. Go listen again. Go watch again. Share it with your friends. Share it with your family. Let's get these views up. Let's get these subscribers up. Let's do all these great things. We have a lot of great things planned. We're planning on going to All Out to hang out with you guys. We got to meet some of you in Newark. I'm sure some of you will get to meet Ant at the Atlantic City show that he's going to in about a month. A lot of great things happening. Patreon.com/ElitePOV if you guys want to support us there, or ElitePOVmerch.com if you guys want to support us that way. We appreciate all the support, and we appreciate every single one of you guys. And thank you for listening to Elite POV. And remember,
Let's go.
remember, you don't need a hat to be a cowboy. Bye. Kawhi.